Hello and welcome to another session of Godbound. This is our third arc. I noticed today that the first arc of this was back in Q3 2021, just to give you a sense of the progress of this. So today we are taking up with our characters, getting ready to make a mythic journey that we're going to be playing through and kind of montaging and maybe figuring out some more things about the world. And I'll talk about that in a moment. Before I get too much further, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session is part of Open Hearth Gaming, which is an online gaming club / community. You can find out more about that at openhearthgaming.com. As well, if you've caught this video because you've been searching for Godbound and stuff, there's a ton of other sessions of Godbound on my channel, as well as hundreds of other videos for other APs. And you can also follow it back to the Open Hearth YouTube channel, where we have even more sessions of actual play, raw, unedited, unexpurgated, untuned, there for you if you want to see how it actually plays at the table. You get to see a lot of the mechanics and see how people run things. And it's a great way, if you have been curious about a system, to watch the first couple episodes and see how it goes. So we talked last time about the group heading into the mythic plane. This is the realm of stories, of the myths that blanket the world. It is different from the night roads and the god plane. It is the story and the archetypes and such that operate in this world. When our characters in Mountain Home went to the moon, in a lot of ways that was moving up through the mythic to get to a place that was kind of unusual and kind of out of joint from how things normally operate. But you have a purpose. You are going in order to find what you need to build a dragon. That's our primary purpose. Perhaps to learn some things about the world. And there is a secondary consideration, thing that Ransom has talked about before, of figure out a way to form the afterlife that he wants, that connects up with the waters that run under the world here. There are a couple of things I want to say about this journey up into the myth that you will know. One of the things is we're going into stories. We may figure out what the stories are, because what we know of the background of this world is that there were people, mortals, that figured out how to use the god's magic to mechanically replicate it, and started to build things to do that over the course of centuries, and eventually broke out into wars, broke the heavens, created the night roads, destroyed things, and things were drastically changed. The other after effect that came of that is that this area that you live in the islands that lie in the sort of middle ocean, were closed off from the other lands, the three great empires that arose in the meantime. And it is only recently that that cloud has lifted, and it's why there's kind of this push in from the outside. So we may learn some more things about the world. We're going to figure that out. This journey is symbolic. What you do in this realm potentially has a symbolic impact on the world itself. Bad things that happen to you can have bad repercussions in the real world. It's not just damage. It's that there can be fallout that goes down, but also good things can happen. You can make changes to the stories as you enact them and go through. In a mythic sense, on this journey, you can each take, essentially, if you wish, a person with you, a helper. It puts them at risk, but there may be some people that you wish to have with you, but kind of for the purposes of story, that's limited to one person. What's going to be happening on the mortal plane is that you will tell your followers, the people, members of your church, your worshipers, you will reveal to them that you are going on this journey, and you will ask for their prayers, and they will be essentially investing in you. So let me start with Tassos. Tassos, is there anyone, when you go up here into the mythic realm, that you would want to take with you?
Um, I assume we've had at least some theoretical discussions about like the sorts of impacts that could come out of this.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, I think I think you would want Nuan Lao to stay here and protect the twins if things are going to be that potentially volatile. He's feeling too guilty.
Absolutely. That
Um,
makes sense.
but I think August Ascending um, could maybe advance his understanding, and we could get a lot further in the sort of theories that we're working on if he came and watched a dragon soul being made.
Absolutely. If you put it to him as an educational experience, he will certainly gather up his pack and his staff.
Not only is it educational, it's mandatory.
Is it? I don't think you're the boss of me.
Yes, no, yes, I
Don't-
am.
don't-
You're coming. You have to come. It's mandatory. Debbie said so.
Debbie said so. Okay. Threadless, what about you? You are muted.
Um, yeah. Um, uh, can I go without unsummoning? I don't.
Absolutely. If you wish.
Mm,
But then we have the conversation where you tell Unsonic that you're not taking him.
I know. But also, as much as anything, this is a trip about him. Yeah, I
Okay.
think I asked Unsummoning to come along.
He seems relieved. Do you think that perhaps there was a moment of worry that he had,
Worry.
that you were
It's
not going
getting
to
more
ask him?
subtle emotions.
Yes.
It's a lot of growth here. So
Or Devi, uh, who do you want to take with you, if anyone?
Uh, I've asked him Tefa to stay behind. He's
Mhm.
normally but uh um there is another professor, Yashad, that I've frequently interacted with,
Mhm.
who I think would be fun to bring along.
The large bird person scholar of violence.
Precisely.
Uh, uh, she will ask, do you think that there will be a violence, combat, and conflict?
Knowing me, one of those things will definitely happen.
Then,
Yes.
then yes, I will attend upon you.
Fantastic.
Uh, Darius, is there anyone that you would like to ask to come with you?
Um, I mean, I think that if I assume that there will be violence, conflict, maybe Temple. Um, Assuming there will be a lot of violence and conflict.
Absolutely. If you ask her, she will like clearly she takes this as a chance to repay some of her debt. And she will say, I will follow you where you go.
Okay.
And Ransom, what about you?
I think I will ask Leisha to go.
You
I
want to take
certainly won't.
your bride to be up into the dangers of the mythic plane?
Well, I won't force her to go, obviously, but it's sort of on the idea that if she's marrying into this, that perhaps she should see what it means.
Okay. So if you ask her to go, she will go. So these are the people that you put out as stakes for play. Just reminding you all of that as we go into this. So the way this is going to work is that we are going to move through a realm of story. And this realm of story has essentially 5 parts. And I'm going to tell you what those parts are right now. Because for each of these parts, I want to have somebody kind of take the lead on kind of setting the stage, doing the trappings for it, and then we'll play out from there. I'll do some framework, and then we'll enact that story. So the 5 parts are, there's first the gateway, the entrance, the barrier, that which is when you move up into that is must be passed, the threshold that must be crossed. Second is the journey, the journey through potentially the waters, the ocean, all of those things. We could kind of set that up as a guidepost, and so I probably am going to put that in your hands, Tyler. Dan, could I put you on the gateway? Okay. We then have the first turmoil, the first thing that you reach that has a conflict, that has a challenge to it. That is a place. And then the second turmoil is a challenge or a question, and it is an event, a happening. And then the last stage, the final stage, which I'm going to put in Threadless's hands here, is essentially the underworld, is the final place that you are going to, that final destination that is connected up with those things. Tassos, do you want to do the first turmoil of a place or the second turmoil of an event?
I'll think about an event.
Okay. Darius, is it okay if I give you a place? Okay. So what is the location that you depart from, that you gather you 10, 2 hands worth of people, gather your 10 together to set out? Are you on the waters? Are you in the great chamber of the library? Are you someplace else? So Threadless, where do you think that is? Where do you think you want to step off into?
How about the very peak of the library itself?
Okay. The highest point, the bit of the library that has managed to, after all of the falling places that came to assemble, is that is there, and it is the kind of 10 of you gathering together, and essentially you 5 investing a bit of your influence into the world to shape and to see the pathway that steps out into these tales, out into the world. And you have to essentially take that step off the tower and begin walking out into there. And you will do that. You will make that transition. Who is symbolically at the front?
And I would probably step forward if no one else
Okay.
particularly tried. I could see also Debbie taking the jump up front as our kind of leader of the way, the journeyman, as it were. But it's up to you, Dan. Which, if you step forward first, I'm happy to follow you in journey. If not, I'll step forward as a god of leadership.
I like it. I like you going first.
Yeah.
That's great.
And it is as I said, you invest your effort. So for
1 point.
you, no, you don't have actually mechanically have to, but essentially, it definitely is your word of leadership, Ransom, that kind of pushes you out into this, or Devi, the word of journey. Tassos, which word do you think that you are embracing and becoming to help enter into this story?
I think it's night. It's the stories and universality of like dreams aspect.
Nice. And what about for you, Darius?
Um, I don't know that I have a relevant one.
What are you embracing? What do you think is most important? What do you feel is the one that maybe defines you in what you need to be doing here?
Let's say maybe on a very uh, metaphorical sense, health.
Okay. No, I think that is perfectly good. You are bringing a measure of life and health and vitality into this other world. And threadless?
His first step. I think it is luck.
Okay. If Ransom and or Devi are at the front, who is at the back?
I feel like Tassos is probably at the back.
Okay. So night follows. And I think more than anything else, as you kind of walk, as the atmosphere, as the landscape changes around you, it is that night, the shadows fall in behind Tassos as you move. Or Devi, in this first place, as we move into this first station, our threshold, what is the landscape here? Are we seeing plains, deserts, oceans, jungles? What are we seeing here?
I think it's salt marsh.
Okay.
It is a very liminal space. The threshold is not so much a single border, but a massive transition. Which is why I think Ordevi is and Ivedro is attuned to the entrance because of the passage of the sun, because this idea of knowledge being sort of a constant state of transition. So the way that's represented is this transition between land and sea in this kind of salt marshy, maybe even beachy type area.
Are you, is the group walking on the water? Is there a path laid out for you? Are you up to your knees? Like, what is the actual sort of physicality here?
Yeah, I feel like we're trudging through the marsh, and in some ways we're waiting to know, do we head left out towards this ocean, or do we need to head right, towards the land? But right now we are you know, almost knee deep in marsh itself.
And I'll put this question to Darius because Ethan has some background in this. What is unusual about these wetlands here? What is different than any that you've ever seen or experienced?
Um, there aren't any like small animals in the grass. Like normally there would be insects and like stuff would be clinging to your legs along with the mud, snails and things. There aren't any. It's just plants and water.
And Tyler, for whom the oceans are a guide and for whom water is a natural element, what do you see below the water? I mean, it's brackish, perhaps hard to see into, but what do you see there?
I think almost wispy phosphorescence that could be, almost like cloud-like wisps of light that swirl and twine between the grasses. And they're of different colors, but all of them are kind of muted, whether by the waters themselves or whether they are naturally sort of muted. So it's purples and greens and that sort of thing, but dim light swirling around us beneath our knees.
And as you are walking, I do think there is kind of a tug from the waters here, a feeling of that. And I think those of you who were at the Temple of Elemental Evil, you remember the ocean stoppered up that you did not release, but you could feel. I think there is some echo of awareness of that thing. It's present up here in the mythic and the story. And perhaps there is, as you walk, a feeling of undertow that you push away, Ransom. You that is nothing to you, but you'll feel it. It definitely moves at your heels. So, Ardevi, what is the story of the gatekeeper here? Is it a person? Is it a group? Is it a thing? What is the keeper here of the threshold that you are coming to?
Um, I think at least in the myths that have popped up around Evedro, um, there's sort of this recurring figure who I'm picturing gargoyle like, but maybe made out of sand, not stone, who is sort of a person questions things, sort of constantly asking. So the gatekeeper is again kind of this liminal space of like asking a question, but forcing someone to think through difficult problems and questions. And so in a sense, this is like, are you ready to begin?
Yeah.
Is kind of the question that he's posing.
And I think we will come to like the marshland kind of breaks out into a little bit of sand and a cave, kind of rough-hewn cave, except that there's this very ornate ornamental arch, like a university entryway arch there. And we will see perched above it a very classically formed gargoyle that is seated there and is waiting. Tell me, Threadless, what is this gargoyle's name?
Solemn,
Solemn.
has solemn,
Pardon?
has solemn.
Has Solemn?
Mhm.
And I think he will look and he will say, look upon what I have become. In ages past, I was Chimera, I was Sphinx, I was Giant, I was Cyclops, and now this is what you have made of me. Professor Ivedro. They still speak of you there, the questioning one, and your word remained, and I have assumed this form.
I like it.
What? I do not.
Oh,
It
settle
is
down.
it is small and stony, and I strike little fear. The fear that I strike is the fear of exams, of arriving naked for tests. Why have you done this?
These fears may be small, but they are pervasive. They are all encompassing. They, for a time, eat away completely at a mind at its emotional peak, running on all levels and constantly sitting on that fear.
Yes, yes, it is a delightful sandwich a day rather than the buffet that I used to consume.
I think the wings are particularly good.
Well, there is something to that. Evedro,
Mm,
why have you not returned back to the university to have your justice, to have your revenge? They threw you out, and you made another university, and they threw you out.
it's true. It's true.
But why have you not returned back to the place of learning? Why do you still walk this path?
The reason why you have become a gargoyle is because gargoyles observe and they watch and they sit in one place and watch the world grow and change around them. And that act of observation is, I think, the essence for knowledge, for growth, for becoming more than you started out as. So I hope you do not fault the form that you have taken, because it is important to me and to the word. But I am not just associated with the word of knowledge. I'm also associated with journeying. And it's difficult to embark on a journey by staying in the same place. Sometimes we hew our own path, and sometimes the paths are put in front of us. And in the cases of universities, that was my time to shift and change the direction that I was going. And I accept that.
Then this burden I lay upon you should you fail in what you set out to do these days as you head on. If you fail, the cost that you will pay is this: you will journey and you will never stop journeying. You will not be able to remain in any place. You will not be able to stop or settle down.
I accept
Ah.
these terms.
That is fair enough. You I give the burden to, the others I simply question.
Okay. It's a story of my life.
Fair enough. Darius,
Yes.
which came first, the doom or you?
Doom.
That is true, and it is good that you know that it is separate from you and not cause and effect. Passos, do you want a family?
It's not something I deserve.
That was not my question. Do you want a family?
I do not want more people to hurt.
That is close enough. There is no need for you to bare your soul too much. Tuck it back away inside the darkness. Ransom. How long can you remain where you are when all of the oceans and the sea call out for you? The birds at wing and such? You will have to leave. You will have to travel soon, right? Can you settle down?
When I am wed, I would present to my bride the wonders of this world, and I will be called back to travel the seas with her beside me.
We will see if she can share that bridal bed with the ocean that is your love, too. Threadless, what will you do when that one becomes a king?
I will argue with him every day.
You have spoken more truthfully than any other here. Pass on, Ordevi and Ivedro. You are 11 in number, not 10. A dangerous and inauspicious number. We will see what comes of that. And he will shuffle a little bit and kind of gesture down to the cavern entrance for you all to pass on. And you will walk into the tunnel. And very, very quickly, the light is extinguished behind you because, as I said, night follows and blots out that light behind as you move along. Are you lighting torches, or Devi, are you illuminating the path here?
I'm just lit up.
Okay.
Yes.
Do that glow.
Plenty of sun.
Sun. And you move down and you feel yourself traveling downwards, down into the earth, down into the layers, until you can hear another ocean. And you will come out and you will see there is a cavern. The light that comes from Ordevi can't reach. You can't see the far side of it, but you see that there are waters. You'll see that there are paper lanterns floating in the water, moving around and about. And there does seem to be a current, but these lanterns are moving against it. And you will see them bobbing, and they might otherwise float up, but the weight of all the souls that are attached to these lanterns hold them down. These are one of the ways that people keep the spirits of the dead, of the ghosts, from assembling in places, is they make offerings like this and send them along the waters to be drawn down into the ocean of souls. And it is an incomplete mechanism. Ransom, you have entered into here. We see the ocean of souls that runs beneath. There is literally waters that run underneath the land. We know that. We've seen that. But then there is this place. So what is the mechanism of journeying here? Is there a ferryman? Is there a boat? Is there a crew? Is there something else? Do you have to swim? Like, what is our story here? When we're told the tales of going down into this underworld where the souls are, in our classic lore and our classic stories, who is it that's here?
I see. So there is someone here.
There
Or-
could be. Yeah, you tell me.
Okay.
And again, if you wanted like a touchstone for this, if you looked at Aegon or any of the kind of the Greco-Roman sort of stories, things like that, these sort of tales, these are the myths, kind of myths that we're enacting here.
Okay. Well, I think, if I may, I think that part of the problem is that that figure is absent. That there is no ferryman, and that is why they are stuck. And so I think as we stand there at the edge,
I
yeah,
think you will see the ferryman here was a divine figure. It was a god, and it
mhm,
is gone. We may see the bits and outlines of where it was, the accoutrements that have been left here,
mm,
but it is
the
absent.
half sunk skip or gondola. Well, like a
Yeah,
gondola, half sunk gondola to the side there.
yeah.
And I think as Ransom looks, and I think there's great concern as he sees these souls and this vast sea. And I will lean forward and look down into the water and look back to everyone. Follow me. And as I step to the waters, kind of a mist begins rising up and begins to take shape like the sea wing, except where the sea wing is bright and white and shining. This is dark with dark sails and is almost ephemeral. And as I step and we step to it, it rises up under our feet. And we are on it as I look down from the sides, and it doesn't seem right without a crew, though, does it? But the sails begin to fill, and we begin moving.
Tassos, what do you make of this?
What do you mean?
I guess is this a place that is in nightmares, or is this a place of just dreams? Like what do you imagine Tassos' senses of the spirits here? You're in some ways the one that has the most connection to that plane.
Um, I think it's deeper than specific dreams. It's souls that go all the way back through the different ages and incarnations of the world. And it's sort of layers and depths, it's stratospheres.
Yeah, and you can tell. I mean, the souls come here, they they go in the ocean, they they are cleansed, and they would normally go on to an afterlife. Some of them stay here just because they can't resolve things. Some of them go back to the world. And I think you'll feel that, like, you know, there are fewer the lower you go that have remained, but there's this blossoming you can tell from the Gods' War, this feeling of that through there. And I think that Darius, you will start to feel the pull as you are there, as there are spirits that like minnows and fish begin to brush up against the side of the ship, because if Ordevi is a beacon of light, you are a beacon of life.
Yeah. And I think some of them feel weirdly familiar, not like people that I knew specifically, but like people who have recently, died from the various things that have happened that I've been involved in. Um, and so like there's sort of echoes of all of those too. And I um think I like down, to where it's a weird, mist, but there's sort of a hall and kind of talk through it. And I just say, uh, we're not going anywhere you want to go. Follow us at your own risk. We're not going to the afterlife, but you can follow us if you want.
And there will some that will wail and move away, but there were others that will stay, that will come there by the side of the vessel, threadless.
I think that in the making of the ship is that thing that Threadless has worked on it as well. And it's a lot of ways, even without thinking about it, it's that same mist that Ransom has created that she shapes into the flock of crossbows, into the all of the features that she's created on that ship. It's like she doesn't know how to see the ship without the things that she's added. And I think there's that point at which she realizes she's done that, and she does sort of go up to Ransom and say, can I help?
How?
Exactly. This is what you are good at.
I suppose I mean, what do you have in mind?
What would make the ship go faster if you could have anything?
Only a wind.
All right. And I think she knows enough about how to create a wind by using force in one direction so that the thing is that everything is forced the other way. And I think that's what she will attempt to do.
Okay. And I think you can start to propel the boat forward. Tell me, Ordevi, you are the master of the journey. What is the signpost here? How do you know which direction you are supposed to go in here? Is it a light? Is it a current? Is it a landscape? Is it a vision that you have? What do you think that is?
I think Ivedro and Ordevi started to feel very uneasy when Ransom started pulling the ship out of the mist or from the mist. And it was sort of like this acknowledgement, this understanding that this is not how the story goes. That we're sort of breaking the myths a little bit since the usual boatmaster wasn't there. And he feels a little panicked because it's hard to know what direction to go in, because I think that is sort of an inherent knowledge that the boatmaster who normally shepherds the souls has. There's no constellations here in the sky, so there's no way for us to navigate like that. There's no lighthouses. There's nothing that he would normally expect to see. I'm glowing brighter because I'm anxious about the direction. And I think what maybe I notice is that the constellations have been reproduced in the ceiling of this cavern, and that it was only, sorry,
That's okay.
Keyboard.
It wasn't too bad.
And it's only by glowing bright enough that I feel more confident to then sort of point out the constellations, so we have a sense of direction.
They are carved on the ceiling. They echo in various gold and silvers as you light up, as you become a kind of a lighthouse, of a beacon here. The ship is formed. Ransom.
Well,
Yes.
can I add, as we begin moving and Threadless has produced this and the light has come up, at first maybe, we have the lanterns floating there around us. and then it kind of maybe looks like a play of perspective that the lanterns are on even or even above ahead of us. But as we move, I think we get to where the lanterns and the silver strings that go back to the water are actually moving around the ship, and Ransom will sort of look to some of them and, like, almost by habit, directing them towards cordage, towards sail, so that these silver cords and lanterns are moving about the ship.
Ransom, what is the story of your afterlife that you are creating here? This is something you wanted to do. This is something you're going to spend Dominion to do, to create your afterlife out of this. What is that story? Do they go to a place? Is there a port? Or is it a fleet that falls in behind you? Or is it something else? What is the story that you want to have happen here?
The story is that as geez, you would be calling it the Nightwing, and that's not even appropriate thing. This Sea Wing, as it travels the underseas, those that wish to join the crew, those that follow Ransom, will become part of the crew, and they will get the opportunity. They will sail with the ship across this sea to the ports, to the places it goes. And when it is time, because Ransom believes in freedom above all, when they find that port that is their perfect place, they will either move on or they will be reborn to the world. But in the interim, they are part of the great crew of Ransom, traveling across the seas together.
And I think you will see that, from those silver cords, from those souls that Darius has spoken to, those people who have passed on and are your followers. I mean, there aren't a huge number who have died, but there are some, and we will see them take their places at the stations. And I think we will see that the vessel is always large enough to hold whoever. Everyone has a place. Everyone has, a spot. Everyone works, and they sail with you.
There's always a fiddler playing a shanty.
Yes. So 6 Dominion, and you have an afterlife.
All right.
And we will see you sail on to the destined direction. Let's take our first break here, and we will come back, and we will see what the trouble is that must be overcome. You move across this ocean. This ship, now a living part of the underworld that you have made, a story that will go out. Your worshipers will know that this is what is promised to them, and this is where they go to. And we will move out, and there will be a point at which, like, light breaks, and we transition out, and we see that we're in that classic sort of misty ocean. The vessel is moving along, cutting through the water at a steady clip, but you can not see anything around you. And the vapors will hang there, and you can tell that in this moment, that transition from that underworld to this next stage, you can feel that around you is it wouldn't take much to step off and fall out of the world. To that, not far past that mist lie the night roads, lie the places that are broken, that hold corruption, but also where lies the empty palaces of heaven, of the various pantheons, their empty spaces out there. And I think that your companions are kind of there. And let's kind of review. I think Tassos, you will see, kind of look around for August, and I think that he has a notebook out and he is conversing with all of the crew here, trying to get their impressions on the afterlife and what it is and what's going on and what their experience has been and how long have they been and all of that. And he seems very much in the sort of empirical recording stage of things. And Darius, I think that there is a bit here where you will see that as you kind of leave that ocean of souls and move out into here, that maybe you didn't notice it as much before, but Temple visibly like relaxes, like that whole experience there on the ocean. She was not enjoying that, but she was trying to hide it. Do you say anything to her? Do you just watch? What is your take on that?
Uh, I don't think I say anything, but now that I'm like, I'm confident of how solid this ship is, I sort of make a point to like act act as if it's solid, like get up and walk on top of things and like grab onto a rope and like I'm very obviously physically like trusting the substance of this thing.
Okay. And she will watch you, and kind of, she goes to the back of the boat to kind of watch the vanishing ocean. Ishad will come over to you, or Devi, and it's like, I was hoping we might fight ghost pirates or something.
Yeah, I did think that was on the agenda when I
Absolutely.
invited you. I really did. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Maybe perhaps we'll run into a Leviathan or something of that sort. The
One could
dark,
always hope. Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Those things that lie in the deeps. But we still see. All right. Well,
But look, there are a lot of souls, lost souls here, probably involved in some kind of war, some kind of conflict, some kind of violence. Maybe you too could interview them and find out their own experiences with conflict.
she pauses and she says, kind of pulls herself up to a little bit of a height, and she says, regardless of what Professor Descending believes, the dead are not reliable sources. They are not valid.
That's fair. That's fair. No, I get that you want to have very reliable sources, but I'm not saying like for any sort of academic purpose, more just to pass the time.
Yes.
Because you're interested, because you're curious about things, no?
She her kind of look. She goes, is it that late? Are you moving to Evedro? You
I,
see, that seems like an unserious statement.
I, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying I feel badly that we haven't experienced conflict firsthand. And so I was suggesting that maybe you could um, get a little bit of a vicarious experience of violence. I feel like I brought the wrong professor.
Well, I feel like I came with the wrong god, and she'll turn around and walk away.
That is not the first time I've heard that.
uh, I do think that Legia is like like this is one of those times where she's having trouble taking it in.
Mm.
This is everything that you have done before has been fantastical, but has been a magic trick, has been, you know, a thing that could be read as a kind of a sorcerer's thing. This felt very different. And you can tell that she's having trouble taking that in.
And I will have taken her hand during most of this trip if she'll let me. And you know, kind of walking the ship and um are you all right?
It is a lot. There were so many souls there.
For a long time they've had nowhere to go. And I I have no power, no right to give all souls a place, but those I can help. A crew to be a part of, a place to call home, a family. Because at the end, that's what it is. Where they can see new sights and find a place and make the journey that is theirs to make.
Then this is where I will go.
Those that would follow me, and when they pass, this is where I would hope they would find themselves. But I, I hope that that would be a very, very long time away, and I will be here the same as I am not here. But I have hopes that that is something to think about in the very far distant future.
All right.
Would you be happy?
I don't know if that's a question that I can answer. Do you?
I don't know. I before I knew what it was I had become, I thought and I I always knew that there was the potential, or at least I believed there was the potential to die, and we knew the rumors that there was just nothing and nowhere. Had I had the hope that there was someone waiting for me, I think it would have made me happy.
And I think she's like this is clearly she's not regretting, but she is trying to come to terms with this. I think you see her mulling that over.
I will kind of put my arm around her but we are the living, and this is not to be worried about today.
And Threadless, uh, Unsonning kind of comes over, as you're kind of leaving out the water. He was like, there was a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you get any of it?
I didn't think it would be right for me to like fish there, but there was a
Come
lot
back.
of good souls.
Yeah. What would you do with them?
Oh, scrunch them up, put them in my pocket, use them for later.
Hmm. How do you use souls?
Well, they're delicious.
Mm. I've never tried one. So is that like you need souls to keep going, or is it just a delicious dessert?
No, no, it's like on ephemera, like when they sent me to get the souls of the generals,
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of like a a delicious taste that was there with those,
Okay.
and so that was there. So yeah, it was all the lot of souls.
So did these taste different than those generals?
I I thought it would be rude to eat Ransom's crew.
Oh, that's true. I thought you meant the other sundries. So
Well, I'd have to go in the water then, and that didn't seem like a great idea.
thinking ahead. She sort of
I,
stops.
I am smart.
Hey, and she goes, I absolutely agree with that.
Good, good.
And she sort of stops and says, so what do you think of all this afterlife stuff?
It seems, I don't know. Like when you die, there's part of you that remains around, but you can't come back, and you've got to do something else. That doesn't seem fair. What if you wanted to do what you were doing before?
You'd have to get lucky.
Okay.
You know, like it's probably why following certain gods would improve your chances of being able to do what you did before.
Hmm.
I mean, if you're a sailor and you were on Ransom's ship, good chance you'd end up being a sailor again the next time, right?
Interesting. I have to think about that.
Mm. I mean, you probably just want to be destroying things, right?
Yeah. Hey, do I have a soul?
That's a good question.
Like, what does your soul feel like?
I don't I don't know. You can sense the dead ones. Can you sense my soul?
Nope.
I wonder if I have one. Can I check for a soul?
I'm not sure that's possible.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's because I don't think I can check for my own soul. It's like a chicken egg thing, right?
Yeah. Like, like when it's the egg and there's the yolk and you can't see the yolk, so you have to scramble it, and then you get scrambled soul, and you can see that it's not translucent anymore.
Oh, is that how it works? This is complicated.
think that was a metaphor. Or
Oh,
was it a simile? I don't know. I've been listening to those academics.
they make a lot of little barriers between a lot of similar things, don't they?
Yes,
We'll worry about that later.
fair enough.
Let's go sit at the back of the ship and throw things out in the water.
Darius, we move forward. Does the ship make landfall? Do we arrive at an island? Is there something on the water? Like what is the place that the boat comes to?
At first, it looks like an island because there are things growing on it and it's enormous. But when we get closer, it's floating. It's like a giant like lotus pad,
Mm-hmm.
just like floating on the surface. And can't actually see if it's tethered to the seafloor by a stalk or what, but you can see that it is like, yeah, it's an enormous, like the thickness is half the height of the ship lotus pad.
And what is the story associated with this lotus pad as the ship comes to it?
I think it's it's another place that gathers souls, like lost souls who have like, I think there is in some versions of the like passage to the afterworld afterlife story, you can be thrown overboard from the ferry boat. Like if you do something and offend the ferryman, he will throw you out. And this is where those lost souls end up.
And you know that this is the place that you have to come to. And you will see that there are buildings clearly built out of the flotsam and jetsam that has come off of the ocean of souls and the bits that have gotten thrown here. And as you are there, you will see that there are these figures that are kind of walking out like and girding themselves in the very bro way as they come out. You will see these five, uh, uh, various genders, but they are all kind of walking out. They're all about 7 feet tall, and they kind of march up to where the boat settles there on the shore. The ship, not boat. Thank you. Where the ship settles up on the shoreline, and they will walk up, and the lead one will come forward and will shout, "Hail!" You are to hail back. This silence is deafening.
Ahoy!
Ahoy. What is it that you want?
Who are you people?
I asked a question first. Then you asked a question. My question answered first. Then your question answered second. Do you intend to pass on? Is that your purpose?
We are continuing forward, yes.
This is where where the ocean stops. If you wish to go on, you have to go through us.
Hmm.
And he gestures to the other four and he says, "We are the 6 splendid devils."
Nice name.
Yes, it is. In fact, it is splendid.
Just looking on Sonic, I'm like, and then I look back at them.
Sonic
I'm
is
like,
very excited. These people are clearly on his level. He's like,
right.
yep.
This seems like his kind of people.
It would appear that this is where we disembark. And so I suppose we'll move to get off the ship.
Okay.
As I step off the ship, there's this weird split as there's a ransom still on the ship. And I come off and the ship sails on.
And they will look and size you up. And he says, "What is it that you want? If you are to overcome us and move on, what is your goal? What is it that you intend? What is it that you wish?"
We need to build a dragon.
Need to build a dragon. That is quite a journey. That we cannot help you with. We are the eaters of the flotsam and the jetsam, the thrown off, the offended, that we have become and consumed. People come here in the past to enact a change, to overthrow a thing, to make something better. So, who will contest with me first?
Well,
All right. And he'll gesture for you to come in over towards what looks like a crudely drawn ring.
mhm. All right. And I will
It is
pull-
marbles.
So there are 5 contests. Which do you wish to duel me on?
tell me of the 5 contests.
You may duel me with your wits. You may duel me with a song. You may duel me with violence. You
Ooh,
may duel me with patience, or you may duel me with strength. Whichever you choose, the others will not have.
oh. That means I can't choose song. That means, see, she sort of looks back at the others. Give me the 5 again, just to make sure.
Wits, song, violence, strength, patience. You have chosen patience.
You did good.
Needlework. And one of the others will bring over coils of yarn and thread to you and cloth, and he will sit down cross-legged. And
I will sit across from him. Same baskets?
Yes.
All right.
Let us have you roll. This is in your wheelhouse, so that is a fact. So you get a +4 on your roll here.
All right.
I think this is a wisdom roll.
I don't think that's my strongest, but let's look. Let's see, my wisdom is a 13, so I
Okay.
need to roll over an 8.
Yes. And we want to get as high as you can on that.
Okay. Rolled a 12,
12?
but I have a 20
Do
sitting
you
in my
wish
pocket.
to use your 20?
Sort of funny. Let's do it.
Okay. I think it is as much a test of the rest of your patience as it is theirs. I think there is that thing where they begin to work at the baskets. They begin to work at the needlework. You see the other 4 will sit down, and then you'll see the sun come up and go down, and the sun will come up and go down. And eventually they'll bring you all water and bread. And it's the 2 threadless and this splendid devil seated across. And there is this moment where you see him jab his finger with the needle. And he sits up and he goes, I have a Charlie horse.
Unfortunate for you.
I have failed. You have bested me.
I'll show him my needlework.
Exquisite. That is exquisite. He shows you his. It's crude and barbaric at best.
It's a good start.
I am shamed.
Sorry.
I will walk away now. And the second splendid devil will stand up and will say, who is next?
I'll go.
Ah, which do you wish to battle me with? Wits, songs, violence, or strength?
I think it's gonna have to be wits.
Wits it is. All right then. I have a book of very difficult mathematical problems here that I have been working on. And he will pull out the crudest wrapped set of pages that he will hand to you. And he will say, I was able to complete this work in 4 hours. Let us see if you can match my mathematical expertise.
Are you making me do your homework for you? Because that's cheating.
I have already done my homework. It is done. I have proven my worth. You need to see you do the story problems and you see if you can solve them.
You want me to grade your homework?
No, I want you to do.
Because I'm seeing some errors.
Let us have you make an intelligence roll here to destroy and humiliate him, Evedro. I believe that you have chosen also your strength, so give yourself a +4 on this roll.
Okay, hang on, then bring up a roller. All right. That's why I'm terrified. Rolled a 1.
I think there is this moment where you're going through and you are talking about this and you're explaining what's wrong, and he goes, doesn't have glasses, but he does this gesture and he goes,
Of course he does.
well, actually.
Oh boy.
And I think he leans over and he points to a parenthetical that you missed. It's all right
I
to know that I am the smarter man.
I I was just testing to see that you could catch my mistake.
Do you want to re-roll, Evedro?
Sure.
Mark that effort, Threadless. Well,
Uh,
well, perhaps this logic problem will be more to your taste then. The 10, what's your intelligence bonus?
Good question. 3.
This time I rolled a 1.
Oh,
What is it like, how are the tables turned? How do you catch him out here?
um, I think I recognize that he, if it's a logic problem, that he missed kind of one of the implications of one of the clues, uh, and ended up. Oh no, maybe he just put a dot in the wrong place.
Uh-huh.
It's a problem, and it just sort of
Oh yeah.
cascaded everything.
Yeah. He's done his symbolic logic proof. You've tried to go through it, and you will point out that error where he's got the extra dot, and he will gasp, and he will bow his head. You are correct. I have made an error. May I may I may I have my book back?
Actually, I like that it's like this, just like one little book of like lots of cool puzzles to work on. Like I've
Yes.
never seen anything like this before.
It is very clever, is it not?
It is one of the most clever things I've ever seen. It is, in fact, splendid. Do you have a spare one I could bring back with me?
You may have that one.
It would be an honor.
And
I think that there's a real market for people who would like to exercise their brains. I can publish these.
you should. I'll have to show you my number squares puzzles as well.
Nothing would make me happier. I think Yashad is standing there utterly just disgusted.
Yashad will say, yeah, someone has to choose violence at some point.
Where is the option where I eat one of you?
One of them will stand up. Well, that seems like violence or strength.
Fine. Violence.
And this one will walk into the middle. And how do you want to do this? Do we resolve this as just a contest of attack here? Or what do you want to bring to bear?
I think I think it's like walking in and there's the like racks of all the like various myriad kinds of weaponry, and the Splendid Devil sort of makes a broad gesture of like, pick your weapon. And Tassos goes and finds some like jagged, horrible, spiking sword. And I don't know, what does the devil choose?
He will pick the largest axe possible. It is absurd.
And Tassos will loom and hulk, sort of taking up more space and slowly circling as they brandish their weapons at each other, until Tassos screams bloody murder and violently disembowels himself. staring challenge at the devil the whole time.
Let us have you make a Constitution roll here. Plus 4 is 9. Plus what's your con bonus?
3.
Oh, that. I think there is this moment after you have done that, and everyone sees
Oh wow, metaphorical swords are
your
really
gut
sharp.
spill out. And I think you'll see him go, nope. And he'll put the axe down, puts his hand up. No, thank you. And he will step back away out of the ring. There's some
I'm very good at violence.
booing from the others. And they will wait and watch until you like, I think you reabsorb your entrails, I believe.
Yeah, there's some melting and reforming and some unpleasantly wet noises.
The second to last splendid devil stands up and says, "There remains but song and strength."
Well, I can't sing, so I guess I'm for strength.
Okay. And he will come out and they will bring a table over and he will set his arm down and he will have you set your arm and he will arm wrestle you.
I'm going to turn into a gorilla.
Okay. Absolutely. So let's have you make a roll. I think we'll give you both for your word of vitality of 4, and then for the gorilla we'll give you another 4. So roll plus 8.
That's a 27.
Yeah, even with his bonus, I think that the ground shakes, like there is cracking that happens here as the two of them go at it. And it is that force where you can see Darius is just the most hale and hearty and strong gorilla, and this devil is pushing against it, and the things. And I think there is that moment where the table finally cracks, and that throws him, and he is flung to the ground. Oh,
I just like, in fact, I don't even let go of his hand. I just like pull him up and let go.
good, good, good. And the last one stands up and says in a beautiful lilting voice, "Then it is just song that remains."
Indeed.
What is the song that you sing, Ransom?
Well, I will call my nightingale into effect. So I'll spend an effort for the seed for that.
Okay.
And hell, I'll even spend an effort to pull up a miracle as birds begin to appear to sing along. And I will call for whales to put a bass in underneath this as I begin to sing a song of the wonders of the ports of the seas around where we come from. And I am trying to bring joy to this place, is the impression from my nightingale song of adventure and wonders to be seen.
Let us have you roll.
Right. Yeah, no. I rolled a nat 20.
So I think that this place echoes with that song, with the sounds of nature, with the birds, with the whales, with all of this. And I think that he weeps. I think that tears roll down his face. And I think as you look and you will see the others crying. And I think that he will not even raise his head, and he will say, Lords, what would you have of us? What would you do? You have bested all 5 of us. Those who've come before have fought. Very few would take us to the contests. What is it that we need to do?
And I'll look towards Threadless and Evedro or Debbie, whichever the two of them. They're the two probably best suited to answer what we need.
Everyone take 8 dominion. And they will say, we are the challenge that is overcome. We are awful and terrible.
Splendid.
And very few will deal with us with kindness and compassion. And you have done that. When you return, you will dream of us, and we will enact the changes that you wish. The path is there. The road is long, and there is darkness at the end of it. And she waits for you. And they will bow their heads to you.
Thank you and well met.
And they will bow their heads. I actually have a little tickle in my throat that has come up here that I'm not enjoying right now. I think I'm actually going to stop us here for this evening, if that's okay. Well, I want to take up next time with the event that Tassos will narrate, and then into the underworld and what faces you there. And there will be a fight. I want that. There will be something that you must face there. Is that okay? I'm sorry. I don't know what has gotten into my throat here. So I am going to stop the recording here.